The Great Kapok Tree, A Tale of the Amazon Rainforest by Lynn Cherry. You see that? Okay, so here's a world map. Typically we look at the globe, right? So this is the flat map, and what the artist did was beautiful here. Around the perimeter, the border, you see all different variety of animals that would find themselves living in the Amazon rainforest. And then looking at the map, the areas highlighted in green are the rainforests of the world. And if we look very closely at Brazil, oh, sorry, I'm trying to hold this. Brazil, second grade, this is the country that you're studying this year. So South America, we live up here in North America, and we'll see on Google Earth where Brazil is in connection to Bethel Springs. But the areas of green are all the rainforests worldwide. And I'm not sure what your learning has included about the equator, but the equator is the imaginary line that goes around the center of the Earth. And around the equator is where it's very warm, so you can imagine tropical, beautiful, lush trees, bushes, flowers, and then of course animals that live in those trees, bushes, and flowers. So enjoy this great story, The Great Kapok Tree by Lynn Cherry. In the Amazon rainforest, it is always hot, and in that heat, everything grows and grows and grows. The tops of the trees in the rainforest are called a canopy. The canopy is a sunny place that touches the sky. The animals that live there like lots of light. Colorful parrots fly from tree to tree. Monkeys leap from branch to branch. The bottom of the rainforest is called the understory. The animals that live in the understory like darkness. There, silent snakes curl around hanging vines. Graceful jaguars watch and wait. And in this steamy environment, the great kapok tree shoots up through the forest and emerges above the canopy. This is the story of a community of animals that live in one such tree in the rainforest. I love how Lynn Cherry just described that. You can imagine the tops of trees, right, touching the sky, and then one tree standing above the rest. And that is the tree that will be described here, the Great Kapok Tree. Two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with the sounds of squawking birds and howling monkeys. Now all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to a great kapok tree. Then he left. There's a picture. There it is. He's looking. He's looking up as the snake is slithering down, right? The snake. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. There's the picture. Imagine that. And look, there's some animals. We could talk about camouflage too, animals that just blend in. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear, "Senor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down. Lizard. Here he is whispering in his ear. A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. Signor, my hive is in this kapok tree, and I fly from tree to tree and flower to flower, collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another. Beautiful insects, butterflies, the buzzing bee. A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. Signor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rain comes, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert. So that's the troop of monkeys. Many monkeys. A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy. Signor, squawked the toucan, you must not cut down this tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you begin to chop down the trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain. So the toucan, the macaw, and the cock of the rock, the three exotic birds talking to him about what happens. How about the colors, everyone? Wow. Oh boy, he's really sleeping. A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaky voice, he piped in the man's ear. Signor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great kapok tree. Take a look, there they are. So adorable. Right in his ear. Oh boy. Hello. Stay sleeping, man. A jaguar had been sleeping along the branch in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, Signor, the kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner? Oh boy, where will he find his dinner? So cute. 4 tree porcupines swung down from branch to branch and whispered to the man, Signor, do you know what we animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And, Signor, do you know what trees produce? Oxygen. If you cut down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life. Several anteaters climbed down the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, Signor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know that what happens tomorrow depends upon what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees. Would not be good. Two faces. A three-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the men first appeared. Only now did she reach the ground. Plodding ever so slowly over to the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice. "Signor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes?" So a sloth is a very slow-moving animal. Lynn Cherry pointed that out because she started moving when the two men first appeared in the rainforest, and she's only now getting to him. A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, "Signor, when you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes." Now think about that, with new eyes. It's impossible to get new eyes in our head. But what is this boy asking this man? How does he want to look at this tree with new eyes? What does he want to happen? Beautiful picture. Here's waking up. It's waking up. The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him staring were the creatures who depended upon the great kapok tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were. So the man awoke with a start. That means, have you ever woken up really quickly, suddenly? That's what he's talking about there. And there he's looking up. The animals have gone away. The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. And absent, too. Absent from the photo, meaning they're not here. Where did they go? Back to their spots, maybe? So take a look. There's the axe. He was left with a job to do. Oh, there's one there, animal there. He's thinking, he's looking. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly, he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. So there the animals are, and he's looking. There's a few in the scene, but not many. So he's looking off. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. So you know what it means to hesitate, is to pause, to think. Then he dropped his axe and walked out of the rainforest. So here is a note from the author, Lynn Cherry. Dear readers, I wrote The Great Kapok Tree to let the world know what happens to the rainforest creatures and to the entire planet when rainforests are destroyed. I hope that after reading this book, you will help save the rainforest. The Great Kapok Tree is about the Amazon rainforest, a tropical rainforest, but we have a temperate rainforest in the Pacific Northwest of the United States that we must protect too. Please care for Mother Earth. Together, we can make a difference. And so